Oh, sorry, I was just, just taking off the ring of power there because I'm coming at you guys with a very exciting announcement video. Woo! Hello and welcome to this video. This is a announcement video for the TolkienALong read-along thing that's happening. I am a co-host along with Ashley from A Frolic Through Fiction, and Lauren from FictionTea is our moderator. This is a Lord of the Rings themed read-along and I am super excited. I have decked myself out in my finest Lord of the Rings jewellery and my floweriest top to tell you about this read-along. This is going to be happening over the remainder of the year, starting in September and ending in December, and we will be reading a book a month, starting with The Hobbit and ending with Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. And I am so excited. This video is the second part of the announcement videos, so if you want the full details, because what I'm going to be doing is offering you a summary and telling you about some other things, then you should hop over to Ashley's video, which I have linked down below. Ashley will be going through exactly when we're reading each book, how we'll be discussing it, what exactly will be happening throughout the months as well, so check out hers for the full details. So basically we will be reading The Hobbit, The Fellowship of the Ring, The Two Towers and The Return of the King, starting in September. There will be a couple of other things happening that Ashley will explain, but also one of the things that we've got going on as well is a book tag that I'm going to be running you through as well in a minute. But I am just so excited about this read-along. So I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about why I love Lord of the Rings, because this series has been one that I have been very familiar with for a long period of time in my life. I have read the first book in this series, but I have never read any more. I haven't read The Hobbit, and I don't really know why I haven't read them, because I've always owned them. It feels like I've got really scraggly, awful old copies, and I need to get much prettier copies. I'm starting with The Hobbit, getting prettier copies, but I'm getting there. But this series I've just loved cinematically since I was a child. I used to run around playing Lord of the Rings with two boys I was friends with in this very big forest area. I was Legolas and my granddad made me a bow and arrow out of wood and string, and I had a quiver with my arrows in it, and it was very, very exciting for little tiny Beth. And I really enjoyed that. It was a really fun time in my life when I look back on it. I used to have a full-length poster of Legolas. I was a Legolas girl. I'm still a Legolas girl, but I also really like Aragorn now as well. But the whole world of it was very exciting. I loved that fantasy element. I loved the battle and the heroes and the warriors and the female characters and the strengths they had, and I just really enjoyed the whole world. So to jump into it in the literary sense rather than the cinematic sense is really exciting, and it has always meant a lot to me because this series has always been there throughout my life and I've never grown tired of it. One of the things I love about this series is the real raw grittiness of it. The fact that this was very much more of a budget, realistic filming type of thing. It was filmed in New Zealand where the settings were, I'm sure, partially enhanced and not entirely free from CGI, but that kind of an environment lends itself to these kind of films. And I think when you look at the Lord of the Rings compared to the Hobbit films, you can see that obviously they both do use CGI, unless the Mumakils are actually genuinely gigantic elephants. But the Hobbit uses CGI a lot more for the scenery and the settings, whereas Lord of the Rings, it looks more real and it looks more genuine in the fight scenes and stuff. And I know that they're partially CGI'd in, but there's so many actors there. And it makes those films just so special and brilliant for me, and I cannot wait to read the books because I think Tolkien's creation is fantastic. I went to Oxford, the library, a few years ago for my birthday to go to a Tolkien exhibition and learn all about him, and I've watched the film Tolkien as well, which gives a really nice backstory before he starts creating the Lord of the Rings world and as he's starting to create it and like write different languages, and it's really interesting to read that or to watch that perspective. So if you're interested in some back watching, I would definitely recommend watching Tolkien because it's really good. But I think I've blathered on long enough now for why I love Lord of the Rings. So as I said, Ashley's video contains much more details about the read-along, but I have a book tag for you. This is Choose Your Fellowship book tag, and this basically contains prompts for each of the members of the Fellowship that I shall be assigning to a book. You can obviously pick your own books, you can take part in this on your Instagram, on your blog, on your YouTube, on Twitter, however you'd like to take part. Tag us if you'd like and let us know that you're doing this so we can have a look at what your answers would be. I'm going to run through my big stack of books for an answer as to which members of the Fellowship I would associate with each book on my shelf. So the first prompt is, of course, Frodo. I will take the ring to Mordor, a book you're not really quite sure whether you actually like or not because Frodo. For me, that is Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J Maas. This was the ending to a very big series that I never really knew whether I liked or not. I could never really decide. And I read this book several years after finishing the most recent book to this one in the series, and I just forgot everything. And I tried to recap it and I tried to keep up to date as well as I could, but this just went over my head a little bit, which is a shame because I think I probably would have enjoyed it if it hadn't been for that, but it left me thinking, did I actually like it or not? I'm not sure. I could see it was written well and I love Sarah J Maas's writing and I like the battles and things, but I'd forgotten half of the characters and the plot, so that did weigh in badly for me, unfortunately. So this is my Frodo. I'm not sure whether I like it or not. Then we've got Sam. I can't carry it, but I can carry you. A book you'll always be loyal to. It's A Shadow of the Wind by Carla Shreya Saffron. I can't say much more about this book because you all know it's my favourite book. I absolutely love it. I will always be loyal to this book as Sam is loyal to Frodo, and this is my pick. This is my Sam. It's fantastic. It's a book about books. Read it. Go read it now. Then we've got Pippin, who my dog is named after, so you can tell he's a character I love very much. What about Second Breakfast? This is a book you would like to reread. This for me is Sarah J Maas's Crescent City, House of Earth and Blood. This was fantastic. I read it at the start of this year and I loved it so much. It's an instant favourite book of all time, let alone of the year. And I want to reread it. I desperately want to reread it. There's going to be more in this series, so I'll definitely reread it before then as well, but there's so much in this that it's fantastic. I desperately want to reread it. I've seen multiple people who've already done this, so I'm going to get on that. And where would Pippin be without Merry? We're going with you, Frodo. This is a book about friendship. And for me, this is Catherine House by Elizabeth Thomas. Not my first thought when I thought about this prompt, but when I looked at the books on my shelf, I wanted to pick something I wouldn't normally recommend because this is a new book for me and I've only just finished reading it. So, Catherine House is definitely a book about lots of different weird things, but it is also a book about friendship and the way that these friendships are perceived versus how they actually are within this house that people are kind of trapped in. This is very fantastic, it's very psychologically weird, and I really enjoyed it. So, a book about friendship, my Merry. Aragorn, for Frodo! Excellent line. A book with a hero or a heroine to swoon over. I've gone for A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kemmerer. This is littered with heroes and heroines. This has got a fantastic character set, the whole series does. They're complex as you get further into the series, but they are very good characters, and I think there's heroes and heroines for both in this. There's some really fierce female characters in this book and the next book, and the male characters are complex, heroic, and troublesome. It's a really good series and I would highly recommend it. So this is my Aragorn. Then we've got Legolas, my bae. That still only counts as one. A very big book on your TBR. I actually don't have many big books left on my TBR because I've read them all, because Kingdom of Ash was like my biggest one and I read that, and Midnight Sun was huge. So this is my biggest option that I could see within my foreseeable TBR. This is The Once and Future Witches by Alex E. Harrow. This is, I think it's like 516 pages, 516. It's not that chunky versus some of the other books I own, but I couldn't put Priory on the Orange Tree on this list because I've already read it. So this is on my list. It's a feminist witchy tale that's also set within the time of the suffragettes, I want to say, the suffragists. I'm excited to read it and I think it's going to be like my next 1 to 2 reads. So, kind of chunky, but it still only counts as one. Then we've got Gimli, Shall I Get You a Box? A short but fun read. This is Jack of Hearts and Other Parts by L.C. Rosen. This is just funny, hilarious, short, quick, fun contemporary about a guy giving sex advice in school. There's a lot more to it than that, but it's good fun and I really enjoyed it. This is my Gimli pick, although I really couldn't imagine Gimli reading this book. Then we've got Boromir. They've taken the little ones. A series you still haven't got past the first book in. This is The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. I've read this 3 times and I am halfway through the second book. However, the second book is slower at the start, and at the same time as halfway through it, Muse of Nightmares came out, which I was desperate to read. So I put it down and never picked it back up again. So really it's my own fault, but I will continue with this series because I love Samantha Shannon's writing. It's just that I forgot. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry everyone. I'm sorry Ashley, I'm sorry Lauren, you both love this series and you're helping me host this read along, so I'm sorry. It's this. This is my Boromir. Finally we have Gandalf, the elusive Gandalf who just wanders off halfway through the films and we just don't see him for a little bit, but then he comes back with some banging lines because he's amazing. So this prompt is all we have to decide is what to do with the time that's given to us. This is one of my favourite lines of anything and I have it up there on a quote. And for this, we are asking for the prompt of a book that basically just makes you question your life, the universe and everything in it. Just as you do. For me, that's The Immortalist by Chloe Benjamin. This is a book about 4 siblings who all get told the day they're going to die, and it's about how they live their lives depending on when that date was, and the urgency or lack of urgency they have to do certain things, and it makes you question the way you're living your life and the way that you're going through your own experiences and the pace you're doing those things and the urgency or the relaxation you have with them. It's amazing. It makes you think. It's exactly this prompt. This prompt is this book. This is perfect. This fits so well. So that was the Choose Your Fellowship book tag. Please do take part and tag us. I really, really hope you guys will take part in this read along. I'm so excited. The reason this has ended up happening is literally because I put out a tweet a couple of weeks ago where I said I would really love to host this, but I'm also terrified. And then loads of people were like, we'd be so interested. And Ashley kind of put herself forward and was like, if you need a co-host. And Lauren was interested too. And just, yeah, it's kind of become this. So I'm really excited. We're all really excited to be hosting this and getting it sorted. Please do check out Ashley's video to get a bit more information because there'll be different ways we'll be discussing each book and things, and if you want to find out what they are, Ashley has all of those details. There's also a graphic that we've made that details everything that is going on as well, like the dates, how to get involved, and who is helping to host. So that will be here. Ta-da! Graphic! I hope it fits in this space I've moved for. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'm really excited to be taking part in this and I hope you guys will be too. Please give this a thumbs up if you have liked watching. Please comment down below if you'll be joining us or what you would have answered for these prompts as well. You can subscribe to see more of my face on your feed or also to follow along with this read along. Also, I apologise if I've said readathon at any point throughout this video. It slips in my brain, or I might know it's a read along, not a readathon. Thank you very much for watching. Keep smiling and stay positive. I'm just gonna go now.